This week there was a Roadcraft Reddit Ask Me Anything, so let me take you through everything that you need to know about it. And as I'm going through them, I will either summarize them or quote them directly, both the answers and the questions themselves. First of all, they were asked about increasing the flattening ability for the roller, and their response was they're trying to figure out how to better handle this. They could try to make the roller roll harder and be done with it, but they could break some physics, so they're going to have to find something to work around it. In regards to dumpsters rear door to be fixed so sand doesn't leak constantly, they say they're aware of this issue and have been working on a solution, and the issue stems from how the sand dispersal in the dump body follows specific physics logic. The sand spreads according to the dump body's physical model and applied forces, and they completely understand that in this particular case it's causing significant inconvenience to players. They're actively working on resolving this issue, but it requires modifications to the sand dispersal logic in the dump body, and they want to make sure everything is thoroughly tested for implementation, and hopefully they can be able to provide a fix for this issue within the next month. They were also asked about the indication of where the mobile sand quarry can be placed, and they've said they've considered a number of different solutions, one of which will actually be just let it be used anywhere actually, but this nullifies the quarry zones. So an indication on the map could also be a thing, but requires a lot more UI work. But they will definitely do something about the sand quarry to make sure it can be used without that weird process of hit the right terrain patch. In regards to the vehicles facing the right way when exiting the garage, they're aware of it and they're working actively to resolve it, and they said you'll be able to see improvements for most cases in the upcoming patch. They were asked about adding a waypoint system, much like SnowRunner, or an alternative navigation method. They can't say exactly when, but they want to add such a system to the game. A big one, the secure equipment on trailers like cargo. This is coming very soon, but not just yet. When changing vehicles, the crane doesn't drop what it's holding. They've said that this is a multiplayer related issue. It's technically possible to fix. It would require some risky workarounds that could accidentally break 5 other things, so it's probably going to be staying this way for the foreseeable future. They're also asked about the smoother steering on consoles. While controls will still feel a little bit different for SnowRunner or Expeditions, the big dead zone bug seems to be fixed in the current dev build already and will be deployed in the nearest patch, and they will be monitoring the situation with controls further, and if something goes south for whatever reason, they will deploy additional fixes. And there's also going to be addition options of steering mode from SnowRunner, which is also in the works, but it will take a little bit longer than expected, and it will arrive as soon as it's ready and will be deployed with an ongoing patch. They were asked if there were any plans for future unique mechanics like painting roads, demolition, etc. They said they've had quite a few unique mechanics in the works, but they can't share any specifics yet. Is there a way to remove sand completely? And the answer is, due to how the save system is structured, removing sand would be technically challenging, though not impossible. They'll look into it, but they can't make any promises at this stage. They were asked about the adaptive triggers to PS5. They have no immediate plans for this. They've explored the idea in the past, but since it requires significant work and won't affect a significant portion of the player base, they put it on the back burner for now. What is the intended function for the chrome work cargo with blade, since it cannot flatten sand? They didn't go into what was the intended purpose, but they said they're looking into this, as it should be able to, so it's likely a bug. They were also asked about metal bridges and rebalancing, as they are limited to use due to the 10 segment restrictions, and 2.5 meter clearance make them less practical compared to wooden or concrete bridges. There are hints in the game files about potential changes like angle adjustments, but it's unclear if these are still planned. Their response was this: while it wasn't explicitly designed to fix this issue, they've got something in the oven, no ETA yet, that should help ease this pain, and also some minor balance tweaks are likely to happen a little bit later down the line. They were asked about the excavators around the map. Is there a law reason why we can't use them, etc. They've said excavators are put there as a fitting asset, nothing more. They have an internal asset library including different pieces from previous projects like SnowRunner, and they will definitely reuse some of those said assets from time to time, and if you look closely at the mentioned excavator, you will most likely recognize it. And the current reason why you can't dig with the excavator at the moment is a purely gameplay related issue. You just can't dig the terrain too deep at the moment, but they're looking into moving past that technical constraint if they're able to in the future. The mannequin driver, the driver that doesn't actually move the steering wheel, it was asked about, and the simple response was they're looking into it. As for sand pouring, to make it a little bit easier, as it can be a little bit jerky, they said they're looking for a way to make the sand pouring more friendly, maybe a special mode, maybe a special truck. They're also asked about a snow level. They said it's a cool idea, but at the moment, our technical limitations prevent us from promising snow levels. They were asked if they intend to fix the issue with the automated road laying objectives, where the road the player's build is deleted and replaced with a prefab the moment the objective gets completed. And the simple answer is yes, they definitely do intend to fix this. The existing scenario is a slice of a previously existing mechanic. It was intended to help with building fancier roads, not destroy your hard work. And they sort of missed this scenario during the launch, but now they can clearly see where the problem is and they will fix it. They were asked if they will give us the tools to plan out where the roads will be, similar to how the missions already have them planned out and you can get the AI to do them for them, or you can do them all yourself. They said the fun thing here is such feature actually did exist in the game for some time. You could even tell the AI to build those planned roads, it was just junky, but they could do it. It was removed primarily because of the UI UX of the system worked just horrible, and through a couple of iterations they could not make it work good enough. And also AI road building required much more time and testing than we could spare at the moment, and this feature has a lot of chances to be revived somewhere down the road, but for now it will be extremely half-baked, so stay tuned. Will a function be added to allow us to adjust rain frequency or disable it entirely in the options menu? They've said that currently exploring the possibility of adding a skip current weather feature that would automatically advance to the next weather presets. They were also asked about the game engine itself, with Roadcraft specifically. What are the benefits of developing the game in your own engine? What are the drawbacks or problems that you run into? Are there any features that seem would be easily implemented but are actually extremely difficult in the context of the engine? They've said that this question is more for a larger article, but to answer it briefly, terraforming and vehicles are our in-house developments, regardless of whether we were building the game on our own engine or using a third-party one. We would still have to create these features from scratch. However, working with our engine allows us to optimize these systems at the most fundamental level, since we're not forced to adapt to someone else's architecture. It's important not only to create an exciting gameplay feature like terraforming on a 4 square kilometer map, but also to polish it. As to work in multiplayer, maintain stable FPS, allow the entire map to be saved, etc. They were asked about other mission types. Have they considered it? The simple answer is yes. They have some ideas and have actually been working on this for a while. They can't reveal anything yet, but they're moving in this direction. They're also asked about the Mule T1. Is there an alternative, as it's the only reasonable crane bed combo? Their response was simply this: the Mule is the beast, but they will add some alternatives in future updates. Will there ever be a way of removing large trees? They generally wish they could implement this, but unfortunately it's not possible at this time. Every interaction, which is classed as a live tree, is a physics-based object that requires calculations for various functions like wind effects, rain interaction, chopping, uprooting, etc. And as a result, each live tree impacts system performance and reduces FPS. However, to maintain visual integrity, the artists need the ability to place trees in specific locations and create forests. They've tried to make their presence less noticeable and disruptive to players, and for this reason, they can't make every tree interactive at launch, and doing so would require very high-end hardware for players. While they may explore solutions for this in the future, they can't make any guarantees at this time. As for collision physics, especially at high speeds like bouncing off obstacles, can be a little bit strange. They've said that this is one of those pesky legacy issues that's been hanging around since the early days, and in short, it comes down to how the Havoc physics interacts with the wheel implementation. And fixing it in Roadcraft would basically require rebuilding the entire driving system from scratch. They've got solutions in the works for future titles, but for now, we're all going to have to live with the unique handling quirks. They were asked about the pros connection without PS Plus on PS5. They said this is already intended in their plan, so they're going to be working towards that. They were asked about steering wheel support as well. They've said that wheel integration support is currently one of the top priorities, and each major patch, like patch 2, patch 3, etc., will be working to expand support for new devices. They didn't go into any specifics, but they did mention that Moser wheels are in the works as well, but no further details on that. They've also confirmed vehicle modding. They can't say when, but sooner or later they'll definitely want to add vehicle modding into game. What was asked next was quite interesting. Are Expeditions and Roadcraft partially intended as technology previews for SnowRunner 2? The simple answer was no. They're both intended as different games, aiming to see if they can do something besides offer a logistics-based adventure. You could say it's exploring different features and building something different with the aim of building something different and interesting for players who might be into some of those things. However, they both have the technology exploration part of them, of course, as they need a living project to actually experiment with engine and gameplay features to the full extent. And before I go any further, because there's a mention of SnowRunner 2, there were a few SnowRunner 2 questions whacked into this AMA, and they weren't falling for that old gag because, yeah, they weren't having any of that. No news on SnowRunner 2, if it even exists. Moving on to the next thing, they were asked, is there a possibility of getting tow trucks in the future? And they've said that they've got something cooking that we might appreciate that's coming out soon-ish. They've also got another question about the Mule T1, about having to motivate or force players to use something other than it, as it seems to be the easiest and fastest way to go. Obviously, I've already mentioned that there are some alternatives coming in the future, but they've said that the Mule is the Swiss Army knife solution by design. It's not the best at any one thing, but it's good enough at everything, and they had to consider solo player experience while making it, since so many tasks were originally made with co-op in mind. But as they roll out more updates and expand your toolbox with new stuff, this should become less of an issue over time. And that is everything that they covered in the Reddit Ask Me Anything for Roadcraft. I'd like to know what your thoughts on all of this is in the comments section below. There were some definitely interesting points and some interesting questions asked during this. And as a reminder, there is still a June update due, and June is coming to a close very, very soon, so we should be seeing it maybe in the next few days if it isn't delayed, and I'll be covering that as well. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful and informative, and let's see more content like this one, make sure you are subscribed. If you're new here, I cover the latest simulation and racing news and updates, so if that interests you, stick around, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.